biển xanh xa tít chân trời, nghe sóng vỗ giạt rào biển cả, phút phi lao gió thổi trên bờ, buồm vươn cánh vượt sóng ra ngoài khơi, trong nắng hồng bừng lên sáng ngời. Miền Nam đất nước quê hương chúng tôi, có rừng dừa xanh xa tít chân trời, người thiếu nữ dạt dào tình trẻ, sáng xinh tươi đáng tuổi yêu đời. Lòng trai trắng rộng lớn như biển khơi, với cánh tay dựng nên đất trời. Mùa xuân đã tới quê hương chúng tôi, mía ngọt khè xanh bông trắng lưng đồi, đồng xanh lúa dập dờn biển cả, những ai dù con phố dù hời, đồng xanh lúa thẳng cánh bay cò bay, đưa nước về làng quê sáng rồi. Việt Nam yêu dấu xanh xanh lũy tre, suối đổ về sông qua những nương chè, dòng sông cuốn dồn về biển cả, lứa thanh niên vui thỏa cuộc đời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng ngời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng phi lao gió thổi trên bờ. Buồm vươn cánh vượt sóng ra ngoài khơi, trong nắng hồng bừng lên sáng ngời. Miền Nam đất nước quê hương chúng tôi, có rừng dừa xanh xa tít chân trời. Người thiếu nữ dạt dào tình trẻ, sáng xinh tươi đáng tuổi yêu đời. Lòng trai trắng rộng lớn như biển khơi, với cánh tay dựng nên đất trời. Mùa xuân đã tới quê hương chúng tôi, mía ngọt khè xanh bông trắng lưng đồi. Đồng xanh lúa dập dờn biển cả, những ai dù con phố dù hời. Đồng xanh lúa thẳng cánh bay cò bay, đưa nước về làng quê sáng rồi. Việt Nam yêu dấu xanh xanh lũy tre, suối đổ về sông qua những nương chè. Dòng sông cuốn dồn về biển cả, lứa thanh niên vui thỏa cuộc đời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng ngời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng ngời. Bạn ơi hãy đến quê hương chúng tôi, ngắm mặt biển xanh xa tít chân trời, nghe sóng vỗ dạt dào biển cả, phút phi lao gió thổi trên bờ, buồm vươn cánh vượt sóng ra ngoài khơi, trong nắng hồng bừng lên sáng ngời. Miền Nam đất nước quê hương chúng tôi, có rừng dừa xanh xa tít chân trời, người thiếu nữ dạt dào tình trẻ, sáng xinh tươi đáng tuổi yêu đời. Lòng trai trắng rộng lớn như biển khơi, với cánh tay dựng nên đất trời. Mùa xuân đã tới quê hương chúng tôi, mía ngọt khè xanh bông trắng lưng đồi, đồng xanh lúa dập dờn biển cả, những ai dù con phố du hời, đồng xanh lúa thẳng cánh bay cò bay, đưa nước về làng quê sáng rồi. Việt Nam yêu dấu xanh xanh lũy tre, suối đổ về sông qua những nương chè, dòng sông cuốn dồn về biển cả, lứa thanh niên vui thỏa cuộc đời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng ngời. Mùa xuân tới nguồn sống dâng sục sôi, đất nước tôi Việt Nam sáng
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, and you know, it is, as always, such a personal pleasure for me to join this remarkable gathering, and I look out at this audience and there are just too many people here who deserve recognition to name all of you. So let me just express my deep appreciation to all the representatives of foreign governments, as well as the leaders and advocates who are here with us and who will be sharing the stage. And of course, I do want to thank someone very special, namely my husband, for organizing this event. And instilling it with his very special spirit of activism, innovation, and commitment that is contagious. Last year at CGI, I spoke about the Obama administration's new strategy for international development, which has elevated development alongside diplomacy and defense as the core pillars of American foreign policy. And we are working with our partner countries to help them obtain the tools and capacity that they need to solve their own problems and contribute to solving the world's shared problems. Our goal is to help people lift themselves, their families, and their societies out of poverty and toward a better life. And this is not development for development's sake. This work, we believe, advances our own security, prosperity, and values. So we have focused on strategic areas where we can make the biggest impact, on agricultural change that stretch from the farm to the market to the table and keep people nourished and productive, health systems that help people spend their days working rather than sick or dying, opportunities for women and girls that allow them to contribute to economic and social progress. And today, I am very excited to tell you about a new initiative that will advance these and other efforts and help put vital new tools in the hands of millions of people. As we meet here in New York, women are cooking dinner for their families in homes and villages around the world. As many as 3 billion people are gathering around open fires or old and inefficient stoves in small kitchens and poorly ventilated houses. Many of the women have labored over these hearths for hours, often with their infant babies strapped to their backs, and they have spent many more hours gathering the fuel. The food they prepare is different on every continent, but the air they breathe is shockingly similar, a toxic mix of chemicals released by burning wood or other solid fuel that can reach 200 times the amount that our EPA considers safe for breathing. As the women cook, smoke fills their lungs and the toxins begin poisoning them and their children. The results of daily exposure can be devastating. Pneumonia, the #1 killer of children worldwide, chronic respiratory diseases, lung cancer, and a range of other health problems are the consequence. The World Health Organization considers smoke from dirty stoves to be one of the 5 most serious health risks that face people in poor developing countries. Nearly 2 million people die from its effects each year, more than twice the number from malaria. And because the smoke contains greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, as well as black carbon, it contributes to climate change. There are other consequences as well. In conflict zones like the Congo, the journeys that women must take to find scarce fuel put them at increased risk of violent and sexual assault. Even in safer areas, every hour spent collecting fuel is an hour not spent in school or tending crops or running a business. People have cooked over open fires and dirty stoves for all of human history. But the simple fact is they are slowly killing millions of people and polluting the environment. Engineers and development professionals have worked on this problem for decades. My own involvement stretches back many years, and I'm well aware that well-meaning efforts have been launched, but none have managed to match the scope of the challenge. But today, because of technological breakthroughs, new carbon financing tools, and growing private sector engagement, we can finally envision a future in which open fires and dirty stoves are replaced by clean, efficient, and affordable stoves and fuels all over the world, stoves that still cost as little as $25. I know that maybe this sounds hard to believe, but by upgrading these stoves, millions of lives could be saved and improved. This could be as transformative as bed nets or even vaccines. So today I am very pleased to announce the creation of the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. This is This is a public-private partnership led by the United Nations Foundation that will work toward the goal of 100 million homes adopting new clean stoves and fuels by 2020. Our long-term goal is universal adoption all over the world. And the Alliance is a perfect CGI model of a public-private partnership that already includes governments such as the United States, Germany, Norway, and Peru, international development organizations and local NGOs, as well as foundations and private companies such as Morgan Stanley and Shell. And we do expect to grow quickly with your help. And this effort will proceed on a number of parallel tracks. First, a major applied research and development effort to improve design, lower costs, and develop global industry standards for cook stoves. There are already some good stoves out there, but we can make them much more durable, efficient, and affordable, and scale up production to reach a mass market. With the right advances, new stoves could even use their own wasted heat to produce electricity that powers smoke-clearing fans, mobile phones, and even household lights. Second, a broad-based campaign to create a commercial market for clean stoves, including reducing trade barriers, promoting consumer awareness, and boosting access to large-scale carbon financing. Now, no single stove will meet the needs of every community across the world. In fact, previous efforts have taught us that if local tastes and preferences are not considered, people will simply not use the stoves and will find them stacked in piles of refuse. That's why a market-based approach that relies on testing, monitoring, and research is so important. Because if we do this right, these new stoves will fit seamlessly into family cooking traditions while also offering a step up toward a better life. Third, we will integrate clean stoves into our international development projects so that refugee camps, disaster relief efforts, and long-term aid programs all will act as distribution networks. Women and girls, who are obviously the vast majority of stove users, will be our focus throughout. Women-owned, microfinanced businesses and networks can extend deep into hard-to-reach communities. And that I know a number of my friends from SEWA, the Self-Employed Women's Association that started in India, has already made a huge difference for millions of women in India. And they're with us today. You'll meet them in a minute. And they're helping us to make this happen more broadly. The United States is committing more than $50 million over the next 5 years to this initiative, and we urge other countries to join us. Our partners have already contributed an additional $10 million, and we're working to raise more every day, with the goal of reaching at least $250 million over 10 years. This is a project that brings across our government the experts together, and many of them have long experience in working on clean stoves, but never before have we pooled our resources and our expertise behind a single global campaign as we are doing today. And never before have we had the range of global partners and coordination that the Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves brings with it. So we need your help as well. You're here because you are already committed to identifying and investing in innovative solutions to persistent global problems. So today I ask you to join us, to be a part of this solution, an issue that brings together so many of our concerns, whether you're passionate about health or the environment or sustainable development or women's empowerment. This is a project for you, and we need you. The next time you sit down with your own family to eat, please take a moment to imagine the smell of smoke, feel it in your lungs, see the soot building up on the walls, and then come find us at the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. Hearths, whatever they look like, and wherever we gather around them, where we tell our stories and pass down our values, bind families together. And the benefits from this initiative will be cleaner and safer homes, and that will in turn ripple out for healthier families, stronger communities, and more stable societies. So we are excited because we think this is actually a problem we can solve. And I want to bring up and introduce to you a woman who's been my partner in this process in the United States government. She provided invaluable leadership to this effort and has on so many important issues facing our country, the Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Lisa Jackson. This is so exciting. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Radha, for that introduction, but so much more than that. Thanks for your leadership, and thanks to all of you who are here on behalf of this important cause. I want to thank Kathy Calvin of the United Nations Foundation, Chris Balderston, who nurtured the Alliance at the State Department, all of you, friends, investors, supporters who have helped the Alliance grow so rapidly. And I can't believe it's the third anniversary of the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. And usually by the time you're 3, you're off and running. And we are off and running, and it feels so right. Because when we started 3 years ago at the annual meeting of the Clinton Global Initiative, which is across the street where I've been for the last 3 days, we launched this alliance with 19 founding partners. And the aim was to raise the visibility and mobilize a global effort to address the health and environmental dangers posed by the toxic smoke from dirty stoves and open fires, which the World Health Organization considered to be a serious health risk, but one that I never saw being reported on. It was something that was happening, but not very many people were aware of it. Now, we knew it would be difficult. We had the technical challenges of designing safe, clean, durable, affordable, translate cheap, stoves. To the logistical challenge of distributing them all over the world and making sure that the models fit the needs in the regions and for the women and girls who had to use them. We hoped that by raising this issue and encouraging technological breakthroughs and growing private sector engagement, we would succeed in creating that market where other efforts had not yet. So we did bring together partners from governments, business, international institutions, academia, philanthropy, to pursue a market-based approach to empower people everywhere to be part of the solution. And we set an ambitious goal: 100 million homes adopting new clean stoves and fuels by 2020. Well, thanks to all of you. Thanks to the thoughtful and comprehensive strategy charted by the Alliance, we have moved from 19 original partners to more than 800. So give yourselves a big round of applause. And our work has focused on Bangladesh, China, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, with efforts beginning in India and Guatemala. And I particularly want to thank the President of Guatemala, who has made this a national strategic imperative. Now, the United States government has boosted its commitment up to $125 million, building on the $50 million that I announced in 2010. The Alliance already supports 13 testing centers around the world, so we can collect data about what works and what doesn't. And the Alliance has spearheaded new global standards for cook stoves and fuel, giving manufacturers, distributors, buyers guidelines for cleanliness, safety, and efficiency standards. And we are, yes, let's hear it for efficiency standards. There aren't many places I'd go for a party where people would applaud efficiency standards. You're my kind of people. I love this. And so we think it's working. More than 8 million clean cook stoves were distributed last year alone. That's more than double the number in 2011. And I'm so pleased to see how private sector partners are stepping up and signing on. The Alliance has driven $35 million in investment in clean cook stoves. We're on our way to a goal of $1 billion by 2020. Major new commitments from Royal Dutch Shell, Deutsche Bank, General Electric, among others, are building momentum. And these investments will, we believe, spur innovation and market growth. For example, the Alliance and Deutsche Bank have created a $4 million working capital fund to provide loans and guarantees to cook stove enterprises that are unable to access traditional forms of financing. The Spark Fund is helping partners reach commercial viability and scale up their efforts, and there are many other examples. We also have learned a lot in 3 years, and some of it's been pretty sobering. New research has doubled our estimates for the number of premature deaths each year related to household air pollution, from 2 million to 4 million. That makes it the fourth worst health risk in the world after high blood pressure, alcohol, and tobacco. And it is the second worst for women. So what we thought we knew 3 years ago, now we are even more motivated because we have much better data and the picture it paints is even more distressing. So this has to be a call to action to keep the Alliance going and growing, to find more partners, to expand markets, put more stoves in the hands of consumers, convince those consumers to use them, to learn how they will help them while still providing meals for their families, save more lives. I've been so struck as I look at these pictures and the experiences that I've had visiting in small dwellings in small villages in many parts of the world. And more than once I would be invited into someone's home, and I would go in and I couldn't breathe. I mean, my eyes were starting to water. I was having trouble because the cook stove was billowing out fumes that were not something I had to live with for more than 30 minutes, but which the women and children in the home lived with every single day. There's also the challenge of finding fuel, which leads women and girls to travel sometimes hours to find scarce fuel, putting them at increased risk of violence, and also taking away other productive activities they could be doing in those hours. Yesterday at the Clinton Global Initiative, looking ahead to the 20th anniversary of the 4th UN Conference on Women in Beijing that will be in September of 2015, I announced a new effort to evaluate progress that women and girls have made over the past 2 decades, and also to be very clear-eyed about how far we still have to go. But thanks to the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves, one thing we know is that women today are gaining access to tools and technologies far out of reach 20 years ago, and that we are helping to move toward our goal of 100 million households by 2020. I will be a strong and enthusiastic supporter and partner of the Alliance in the years to come, but I know very well it's all of you and people like you around the world who are really making a difference. Last year I was in Chennai, India, and we had a demonstration of the new stoves alongside the old ways of cooking that was out in an open space. And one of the universities in India was doing research by strapping respirators that recorded the amount of toxicity that the women were breathing as they worked on these various stoves, and keeping track of what happened as they changed from the traditional method to a newer, more efficient, safer method. And the numbers were staggering in terms of what was being breathed in before and after. When you saw the faces of those women who were trying out the new stoves, there was a little bit of suspicion, not an immediate embrace. But as they got the hang of it, and as the researchers explained to them how much safer this was for themselves and their babies, you could see them sort of just sitting up straighter and really grasping that, maybe they wouldn't have to spend so much time
on this very basic task, and maybe they could do that without endangering the future of their family. So it was a touching display and a great reminder of what we can do when we work together. We're all in this together, and we have an opportunity to make a real difference in millions of lives. So please continue your work in support of the Alliance, and let's keep getting together and tracking our progress as we move toward our goal in 2020. Thank you all very much.
So, Madam Secretary, thank you for agreeing to be our honorary chair. We could not have a better spokesperson. A woman who believes in this is so powerful, and thank you for all you've done to change and improve the way half the world cooks and will cook in the future. 3 years ago, you took this issue on and you literally have transformed the world, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So we wanted to give you a special gift today. This is a portrait of a woman by the artist Rodney Rascona. It's called Our Children's Keeper. It's a woman from Torbi, Ethiopia. And the inscription says, "A woman with access to clean cooking solutions can change her life, her family, her community, her country, and the world." We know that you're doing the same. Thank you for all you're doing to make sure cooking doesn't kill.